Those damn kids got away from me. They shot me in the shoulder with a crossbow. Oh, I'll get him. Oh, I'll get him. It's just I wish I had a mask like you. I don't look too intimidating without one. You think you can make me one? Oh, you want me to wear this one? The only problem is this belongs to a different killer, and he gets cranky when somebody else used it. Somebody tried to use this back in '85, didn't work too well for that guy. So I'm gonna have to pass on that one. We'll have to work on something else. But what do you say we go get those two kids, and I'm sure they'll turn the tables on us, but we need a couple more dummies for our House of Wax. Let's do it. Hey, welcome back to my channel. Hope everyone's doing well out there. And today we're going to head back to Dark Castle Entertainment territory with their 2005 remake, House of Wax. This was a remake of the 1953 movie, House of Wax, starring Vincent Price. Now, this movie has very little, if at all, to do with that 1953 version. The only two things that has anything to do with that film is the name, and there's a House of Wax in it. Other than that, this movie has a lot more in common with Tourist Trap, which if you've never seen that film, check it out, than it does the 1953 version. But we'll get into that as we go along. This film was released May 6th of 2005. They tried to make this a summer release, which I think was a mistake as well. I think that's what hindered its box office a little bit. It should have been released in October, where horror should get released, especially a horror of this type. This movie's rated R, hour and 53 minutes long, at a budget of $40 million, which is a hefty-ass budget for an R-rated slasher film. And upon release, it made $32 million in the U.S. and $68 worldwide. Now, this movie was directed by John Collett Sarah. I think I said his name right. Now, this is his first theatrical film. He went on to do Orphan with Dark Castle Entertainment 2009, which is a pretty good film. And he did a couple of films with Liam Neeson. He's directing a high-profile picture, I think, coming out soon. I can't remember what it's called, but he's still directing to this day. And he's a decent director for sure. Now, this film obviously was produced by Joel Silver and Robert Zemeckis, as always two producing partners on these Dark Castle films. And up until this point, I enjoyed the Dark Castle films so far. I thought House on Haunted Hill was a really good remake. I enjoyed 13 Ghosts for what it was. It wasn't the greatest thing. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen. I enjoyed Ghost Ship for what it was too. Again, not the greatest film, but not terrible compared to some horror films. And I never saw Gothic with Halle Berry. Even to this day, I've never seen it. I don't know why. I like Halle Berry as an actress. I just never saw that film. That's me at some point. I'll check it out. So this was their fifth film since they started doing these films, and it's their first slasher film. Now, in this film, we have Chad Michael Murray as Nick. He's the bad boy brother, and his sister is played by Eliza Cuthbert, who was coming off of Girl Next Door, I believe, around this time, and she was on 24, although I never watched 24. And she plays Carly, and Paris Hilton's in this film as Paige. Talk about stunt casting. And yes, she was the first cast member hired, and it has to be a Joel Silver decision. I can't see Robert Zemeckis making a decision. I think that was Joel Silver. He was notorious for hiring like models like Cindy Crawford and Fair Game, even though they had no acting experience. He was always, I mean, Paris Hilton had done a couple small things, and she was, at the time, she was in The Simple Life on Fox with Nicole Richie, which I've never watched. I just remember it was popular at the time. And she had that porn tape that got leaked to the internet, if you're especially my age, you'll remember that. And so, other than that, she serves no purpose other than stunt casting. The girl can't act. The woman cannot act. She sucks. When she died, I remember people in the theater clapping, because I did see this when it was released that summer. We also have Brian Van Holt as Bo. And Brian Van Holt's been in a ton of films over the years. Black Hawk Down, Basic, Bullet to the Head, many films. He was on TV. Just a good character actor who's always solid whenever he shows up. And Jarrett Padalecki plays Wade, the boyfriend to Carly. And this is his first horror remake. He went on to do 2009's Friday the 13th. Now, this film is pretty simple. We have two carloads of friends going to Baton Rouge to see a college football game. And on the way, they decide to stop and camp overnight. They have a short run-in with his pickup truck. Nick throws a beer bottle at his headlight, smashes out, and the pickup truck takes off. Now, when they go to bed, somebody messes with them. When they wake up, Wade's car, the fan belt, is damaged. So they have to get a new one, or he can't drive his car. So the one carload of friends goes on to the football game to get tickets, while Carly and Wade stay behind to get a fan belt so they can they'll catch up with them later. They run into this super redneck dude at this pit where he's dumping these animals that get hit in the side of the road. And he says, I'll give you a ride to, there's a town up the road, I can give you a ride there, and there's a garage where you can get a fan belt. So he takes him to this little town in the middle of nowhere, literally. They stop on this road at this little creek. The road doesn't even go into town. They have to walk the rest of the way, and there's this town, no paved roads, but it looks like a nice, cute little town in the middle of nowhere. It has a house of wax, and there's some businesses there. There's a movie theater, and there's this garage. And they kind of, they end up stumbling upon this little church, and there's a supposedly funeral going on, and Bo comes out and says, gives them shit for interrupting their funeral, but says, if you go to my gas station, I'll help you out. I'll be over in about a half hour, 45 minutes. So meanwhile, they go up to the House of Wax, and instead of famous people, there's just these different people dressed differently, and the house itself is made out of wax, they realize. Which is pretty cool. I got to admit, the production design, the set design on this film is excellent. You could tell they utilized that $40 million budget, and whoever did the production design did a really nice job, especially for a film of this type, that they went to that much detail to pull that off. And soon, Wade and Carly figure out that this town is not all what it seems to be, that everybody's in the windows they see are fake, people in the church were fake, and Wade ends up getting his Achilles heel slit and taken into the basement where he gets stripped naked, shot full of drugs. They sit him in a chair and cover him with hot melted wax and turn him into a wax figure, which comes into play a little while later when one of their friends goes into the Museum of Wax, and Wade's propped down at a piano and he can't move. His eyes move a little. That's how his friend knows it's him. And he goes to pull off the wax, and a piece of his skin rips off with it, and you can see the muscle underneath. It's a pretty cool damn makeup effect they pull off there. And that scene, honestly, this is where we're getting the Tourist Trap comparisons, is right out of Tourist Trap. There's a scene in Tourist Trap where Mr. Slauson, the killer in that film, who has psychic kinetic abilities, that's the only thing this film doesn't have, is the killers don't have psychic kinetic abilities. They can't move things with their mind. Covers a girl with wax on the table. It's a very uncomfortable, well pulled off scene. And they basically rip it off here. I mean, it's done a little differently, but it's right out of Tourist Trap. As a matter of fact, I was reading, the director gave an interview around the time this was released with Fangoria. And he even said this movie is more of a remake of Tourist Trap than is House of Wax. But House of Wax, the title, is more well known with the population. So they used House of Wax instead of Tourist Trap. So at least he admitted it in this small interview with Fangoria. But watching it again the other night, there's a lot of similarities to Tourist Trap. And if you're a fan of Tourist Trap, which I am, if you've never seen Tourist Trap, check it out. It's a pretty damn good little film, a scary film. This is very similar to Tourist Trap. Now, they have more money here, obviously, and everything's jacked up to 11 in this film, where Tourist Trap was made for like under $1 million. Here they had a lot of money, and it shows. They used it all to their advantage. We get some really good kills in this movie. Paris Hilton gets a pipe through the head. I remember in the theaters people were cheering when she got killed. I have no animosity against Paris Hilton. I can care less. But her being in this film was just stunt casting, and it was a waste of time. They could have put any actress in that role, and it wouldn't have mattered. And it didn't help their box office anyway. It was just stupid. The whole thing was just dumb. This film was mostly shot in Australia. Some of it was shot in America, but most of it was shot, like the whole town set was in Australia. And as the movie goes, get back to the movie a little bit, as the movie goes along, we know that Bo and his brother were conjoined twins when they're young. We get some backstory into them, and they were separated. And they lived there, and the brother that's disfigured that always wears this wax mask is the one that builds all these wax figures. And they use real-life corpses or people that they kill as the wax figures. They cover them in wax, and they prop them in this movie theater that gets... there's a scene in the movie theater or this around town, the church. There's actually real people, bodies underneath the wax. Because when they start shooting a gun later, they shoot off half a face. You can tell a real person's in there. And then finally we get Carly and Nick are the two surviving characters. And they got to fight off the brothers at the end as there's a fire in the House of Wax. Everything's melting. And they end up killing both brothers. And they escape with their lives. And that's the end of House of Wax. Is this movie perfect? Hell no. There's a lot of problems here. Some of it's with the acting. Wade is a character. Jared Padalecki is... I like him as an actor. He was good in Friday the 13th in 2009. Unfortunately here, at first he comes off as a really nice guy. When they get to the town, he does so much dumb shit that he just becomes annoying. And I couldn't wait for him to go, actually. It's like, this guy's a fucking moron. Like, he's just doing everything wrong, and he's being disrespectful to Bo at first because they don't know he's a killer at first. Like, he's going into rooms and touching shit. You don't even know this dude. What the hell? Like, just some dumb things. And then there's Paris Hilton. Once she's off the table, then The film's fine. I mean, most of the actors, like Chad Michael Murray's fine in this film. Elisha Kubert's good. Brian Van Holt's good. Jared Padalecki is normally good. I don't like him here just because of the way his character's written. He comes off as an idiot once he gets to this town. But there's some good kills. They definitely hold back on the carnage candy. It's well shot. It's well edited. The effects, for the most part, come off. The makeup effects are outstanding. Some of the computer effects don't look the greatest. But overall, you can have a good enough time with it. It's not the greatest thing ever, but it's not as bad as the reviews have you believe from back then. Yes, there's some stupid shit in here. I'll freely admit that, but you can sit down and have a good time with it. I do think it's a little bit too long. It's an hour and 53 minutes long. There was no reason to be almost 2 hours long for this film. They could have shaved 10 minutes off this film, and you wouldn't even miss it. Honestly, they could have picked up the pace a little bit. I think it drags in spots, but overall, you can still have a good time with it. I would give House of Wax a 7 out of 10, only because it's a pretty enjoyable slasher film from the mid-2000s and has good production value, and it's pretty well directed. Yes, 7 out of 10 for House of Wax. If you've ever seen this film, leave a comment down below, let me know. Hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, share this video. I greatly would appreciate that. Until next time, bye.